The Decker Building, also known as the Union Building, is located at 33 Union Square West in Manhattan. It was constructed in the years 1892 to 93 by the architect John H. Edelman in the employ of Alfred Zucker and was commissioned by John Jacob Decker to house the Decker Piano Company. This 11-story building once towered over Union Square, but now it is one of many tall buildings in the area, and you might overlook this interesting and intricately designed building. Edelman was also an artist, sculptor, and anarchist socialist. He was a founding member of the Socialist League in 1892 after being expelled from the Socialist Labor Party for his outspoken anarchism. It's interesting to consider that this was happening at the same time that Edelman was building a piano store in a burgeoning commercial district, so don't think people are ever only one thing. Edelman was a friend of Louis Sullivan, a prominent architect sometimes called the father of the skyscraper and very influential in the Chicago school. Sullivan credits Edelman with his maxim, form follows function, and is quoted as saying, "Edelman was the benefactor, Louis the parasite and profiteer." Edelman displayed an ornamental frieze from the Wainwright tomb in St. Louis designed by Louis Sullivan in the living room of his home, and this style of ornamentation certainly influenced the design of the Decker Building. Here is the floor plan of the building, with the main floor depicted above and the cellar below. We can see that the floor consists mainly of a large open space with restrooms and a staircase situated at the rear of the building. This open area would be ideal for showcasing large items such as pianos, and also for use as a studio space by a commercial artist. The Decker Building was home to Andy Warhol's famous factory in the late 60s and early 70s, where he produced paintings, screen prints, films, and threw glamorous parties. The building was converted into loft apartments in the 1990s. The building is constructed with brick sidewalls, a facade of limestone brick and terracotta, and a gravel and tile roof. The masonry-bearing walls are supported by a combination of cast iron and steel cage. The building employs a classical tripartite columnar division of levels. The base features 2 levels of Chicago-inflected windows with a large center pane flanked by smaller ones on either side. Surrounding the windows are panels of flat ornamentation depicting sunflowers. The middle section, or shaft, stretches from the 3rd to 10th floors. There are 4 windows on each floor, grouped in an ABA pattern, with the middle 2 windows placed directly adjacent to one another. This rhythm is emphasized by the use of flat ornamentation, the Islamic-style alfiz, which encloses the arch uniting the 4th and 5th story windows, and the alternating placement of balconies on the 5th, 6th, and 7th floors. We can see an antecedent to these balconies in the Palazzi of Venice, Italy, which are similarly narrow in their proportions and enframed by ogee arches. The shaft transitions to the top section, or capital, with a loggia on the 10th floor. Above this is an elaborately ornamented tower which was once topped with a domed minaret. Domed minarets are typical of Islamic architecture. Pictured here is the Al-Qidimiyya Mosque in Baghdad, Iraq. The center tower is flanked on either side by paired horseshoe arches, also known as Arabic arches, and the spandrels are covered in ornamentation. In the center of the tower, we see an elaborate arrangement of windows overlooking a narrow balcony. Not only did Edelman succeed in bringing together Moorish and Venetian influence, this building also represents a dialogue between the Chicago and New York schools. 3 elements in particular bear similarity to the work of Louis Sullivan. Enclosed and articulated elements covered by flat abstracted decoration based on plant types and oriental sources, horizontal spaces embellished or outlined by ornament, in other words, the enframement of the 2nd and 10th stories in the Decker Building, and wide ground story windows flanked by smaller apertures that we mentioned earlier, the Chicago-style window. This building represents a confluence of many styles and embodies the cosmopolitan ethos still alive and well in New York today.